All right, welcome to our bonus session this evening. I'm so excited. Many of you guys have been following along. I'm going to go ahead and mute everybody, and then Grace, I'll go ahead and unmute you. So I'm going to go ahead and unmute Grace. Okay, so in our group, we've been doing something called the April Builder Challenge, and we've just been talking about simple ways to build from home. Just how, because I realize right now that we're doing social distancing, and it's made it so that we can't really go out and do classes like we're used to doing, and what works well for so many people. And I'm going to introduce Grace to you. So I met Grace at the end of January. I enrolled her, and she told me that she wanted to build a business. And a lot of people tell me that they want to build a business, but to be honest with you, they are not really willing to put the time and effort in. And so, I mean, I'm of course grateful for any effort that anybody wants to put in, but I met Grace, I signed Grace up, and no joke, within like 5 days, my husband was like, Jen, Grace Bates has already sold like $500 worth of oils. And I was like, so the jokes that not joke, but who's Grace Bates? Like, who is this amazing woman? Like, that was the thing at our house. Like, who is Grace Bates? Well, then in February, she hit director. You guys, I hadn't even had a chance to really work with her or talk to her yet. And then in March, she hit elite. So, and I actually got to go meet her in March, and I'm very excited for when the social distancing things end so I can get back out to Illinois to work with her. But she has done a phenomenal job she does great with in-person classes, but she does really well with doing Facebook events and classes, and she is going to teach some of the things that she does. So Grace, some of the things, and if you don't mind at the end, we'll open it up for questions.
Yeah.
But some of the things I know people want to hear is, how do you set it up? How are you getting people to attend? Because that's a problem that I know a lot of people have, is when you do an online class, it's tricky to get people to show up, and you're getting people to show up and you're getting people to purchase. So I would love to hear what your process is like, start to finish. And
okay.
So I'm going to actually mute myself.
Okay.
And where I'm going to let you just explain your process, and I'll mute myself, and then we'll open it up for questions.
Okay. So first off, I want to say hi to everybody who's watching. This is like, I was honored when Jen asked me to do this, because I was like, who, me? It was really exciting for me. Because like she said, I've only been doing this since like middle to end of January. And something that I have a huge passion in, because I've used doTERRA products for several years before ever getting involved as a wellness advocate. So it was super, super exciting that she asked me to do this, and that she came out to meet me, because that's huge. So with only having been enrolled since January, at that time, obviously we could still do in-person classes, but I have only had the opportunity to do 3. And then everything closed down, social distancing, everything happened. So I had to kind of find a different platform, and I'm really big on Facebook. I mean, I'm 30, I'm a millennial, so I know how to do all that stuff. And I have a lot of friends who either are using doTERRA, have used it in the past, or are very interested in learning more, especially in this crazy time of everyone wanting to be healthy and do whatever they can to boost their immune system and stay healthy as much as possible, and for their kids, for themselves, for their homes. So this is kind of a really great, well, it's not a great time at all, but it's kind of a good time for doTERRA to be introduced to as many people as possible, because of all the amazing benefits that it does have. So when I signed up, I made a Facebook page on my, I created an oils page. It's called Absolutely Essential, and it's a closed private group. And then I have to invite all of my friends, family, contacts onto that page, and they can accept or decline. So it's the same thing that you would see with any other kind of invitation that you would get on Facebook. So right now I have about 80 members on it, and like I said, it's closed, but people who I have on there can invite friends, and I can accept or decline them and things like that. So after I kind of built that and had, people accepting and things like that, I focused on something that I really want to get out there and teach people and have them know about. So every day I post at least one, if not more, pictures or graphics or exciting things that are going on in the company, any new releases, the promos, and I just let them know what's available. So for example, today I posted a new blend that I was using and said what it was, how many drops of each I put in there, what the benefits are, and then I, do a little picture with the diffuser and the oils in front of it. Or I'll post what the product of the month is. Well, not the product of the month because you don't usually know what that is, but the promos of the month that doTERRA are doing. Anything, if I'm running my own promo, if I'm doing like my own BOGO or my own, free On Guard hand sanitizer with XYZ, things like that. So I'm very active on the page. I post constantly about things that are going on. If my kids are having a really rough day or if they had a hard night sleeping, I'll just do like a personal anecdote, personal testimony, because people want to see that this is for everybody and for real people and that it works. So I'll post like my 3-year-old Emmett had a really rough night sleeping. I sprayed some Serenity on his pillow and he was out. So things like that, just to keep people active in the page and coming to it, seeing what I'm posting. I get a lot of comments back like, oh, I have, Breathe, or I have On Guard, I have Serenity, I love them. And I just kind of interact with everybody, give really good advice on how different ways to use those oils, and so on and so forth. So my Facebook page, The Absolutely Essentials, was kind of step one for me. So once I got that going, since now for February, March, and April, I have been doing actually something that I got the idea from Jen from. She calls it Deal or No Deal. I call it Pick a Card. So it's really just, I post a picture of 4 cards, 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's the incentive for people to host a class. So I say, hey, I'm looking for 4 people to host a class in the month of April. And if you agree to host a class and we set a date, you get to pick a card. And every card has an incentive on the back. So I've been doing free On Guard hand sanitizers, free bottle of lavender. I've even done, I'm trying to think of what the highest one did. I've done like 20% back from like class sales. So just some sort of incentive to get people excited to host a class. And I always let them know, hey, you don't have to do anything. I do all the work, because I know sometimes it can be overwhelming for people, or they don't want to get involved in like the network marketing part of it. And so I just let them know, hey, literally all you have to do is agree to host and invite people and then watch the video. So I always do them through Facebook Live, and I will create the event for whoever's hosting. And I create the event. I do a description of what it's going to be about. So lately, my last few classes have really been focused on physical and mental health, just because of everything going on right now. That's really a main focus, and what we all want to be focusing about is physical health and mental health, because that's just as important right now. So I'll do a description of what my class is going to be about. I tell my hosts that their only job is to just invite people, and I don't want to put a lot of pressure on them. I don't want them to feel like they have to invite every single person on their friends list. So I tell them to only focus on people who they know are going to be really interested in learning about doTERRA and how to use them, because we want the quality of the participants in the class, not so much the quantity. So I always tell them, don't worry about, inviting hundreds of people, just think about some close friends and family who you think are really going to benefit from this, and we'll go from there. So we pick a time, pick a date, get it all set up, and then I just go live on that day and time. And depending on the type of class, I have some people who want it to be more of like a week-long thing, which is totally fine. So in that case, I'll post just postings on their event page throughout the week about things that we're going to be talking about, any incentives that I'm doing. If I'm doing any giveaways, I'll make sure to mention that, because that's going to draw people in, because they want those incentives, they want those giveaways. But if I'm just doing a one-time live video, it's just what it is. It's like this, it's like Zoom, but it's on Facebook, and I can see who's watching, they can write comments, and I literally just have everything set up of what I'm doing. And like I said, I switch up the topics. So I have been focusing on health and our physical and mental health This next week, I actually have a class lined up geared towards moms and women's health and items for kids and infant care. I really want to do a class on oils for men. I know that's something that we're talking about in leadership right now. So, you know, women out there who want to get their something for their sons or their husbands or whatever have you, to make it known that, hey, oils are for men too. So yeah, I'm doing a class for moms. I want to do a class. I'm trying to think. I had so many ideas, but just switch up the topic so that you're not talking about the same thing over and over again, because you do have a lot of repeat watchers and they want to know all the different things that are going on. Oh, the other day I did a class just about all the other doTERRA products other than oil. So I talked about the hair care, spa collection, skin care. I talked about the supplements. So just so people know that doTERRA is not just oils, which there are so many of them, it can get overwhelming, but they have all these other products as well. So I guess my biggest tips are to kind of switch up the topics, provide some sort of incentive for them to watch. So if I always say, if I'm doing someone's class that they're hosting, I'll do a giveaway at the end for whoever's watching the live. So I write down who is logging on and who is watching, and I put them all in a hat, and I do an incentive at the end of the class. So to keep people watching, you always want to do that at the end so that they stay engaged. And then to book the classes, I do the pick a card, because then literally they're not losing anything and they get a free gift. So that entices people to agree to host. And then I'm kind of going through trial and error with classes that I host myself, because what I was doing is creating an event, like Grace's doTERRA class on XYZ. But I wasn't getting a really good response to that because people kind of overlook their events and their notifications. And you really want it to be something that they're going to tune into. So what I did with this last one, was I just did a live video on my Absolutely Essentials page. And that was much more successful because I didn't have to create the event for people to accept and to make sure that they log on. And when you're doing an event, the only people who see that you're live are the ones who you invited to the class and the ones who accepted the invitation. So this time I just did a live video on my Absolutely Essentials page, and everybody on that page, 80 people or so, saw that I was live. So I had about 15, 16, I think it bounced back and forth between 17, 20, went back down, people watching. And it was a much better turnout. So when I'm posting my own classes, I'm definitely going to be doing that moving forward. It's just going live on my personal page so that everybody who I have on there sees that I'm live. And I have people watching who hadn't attended any of my classes before. So that was really great. So the only time that I'm actually creating an event now is when someone's hosting for me, and then because then they can invite their contacts and things like that. So I go through, the entire class. I'm very interactive with everybody who's watching. I make sure to read the comments as I'm going along, reading what everyone's writing. If I'm doing a little description on Breathe or On Guard or anything like that, and I see someone comment like, "Oh, I love that one," I'll just say, "Oh yes, no, Kelly, I see you. I love it too. Here's why. Here's how I use it." So I'm very interactive. And then at the end, I just thank everybody so much for watching. And I tell them that I know that I did my job if they've learned at least 2 new things about doTERRA or essential oils. And a lot of people comment about what they learned. And repeat people who have watched more than one of my classes have said like, "Oh my God, I learned something new every single time I watch you. Like, this is great." And then I get a couple orders in. So if I'm hosting a class or if someone's hosting a class for me, I always end it with, how to be involved in doTERRA, how to do a retail order, how to become a wholesale customer, how to create an LRP if that's something that they want to do. And I always do kind of a bigger incentive for anybody who makes a purchase that evening. So I know it sounds kind of like time driven where I'm like pushing people to make an order, but I've noticed that if you say this class is going to be open for a week, place your order, chances are you're not going to get as many as if you were to say, place an order by this evening and you will be entered in for a raffle for a free intro kit or something like that, because that's going to make people really want to be like, "Oh, I want the intro kit." and go to your site and pursue an order. So those are just kind of the things that I have been trying, and it's been trial and error, but I'm finding a really good groove with it. And actually next week I have 3 classes booked already, and that was just from reposting the pick a card. So I have 1 opening left, and I know that I'm going to fill it. And I've been really focusing on just kind of maintaining Elite right now, because there's only so much that we can do in this time, but I want to maintain the status and really get people who are my wholesale customers on an LRP, and then hosting classes. So yeah, Jen, did I cover everything that you wanted me to? Do you have anything that you wanted me to add?
Yes. Okay, so you're getting people to your event by just going live on your Facebook. But when you have people hosting for you, you said you have 3 people hosting this for you this month.
Yes.
How are you getting them incentivized to get people to their events? Because in doTERRA, a lot of things people run into is even doing in-person classes, people have a hard time getting people to show up. So getting people to show up to an online class is huge. So what are you saying? What are you giving them as an incentive? Like, tell us.
I always follow up. I can see who has accepted the invitation to attend that class. So even if they're not on my friends list, I can still send that person a message. So somebody that I don't even know who said that they're going to come, I always follow up with them and say, hey, I saw that you accepted so-and-so's event. I'm really excited to talk to you guys. And then I do a little blurb about what doTERRA is. I ask them if they've had any experience with doTERRA or essential oils in general. And I always let them know that there's going to be a giveaway during the class. So to make sure that you tune in live. Because a lot of people will think like, oh, I'll just catch the replay, because I do post all of the videos, the lives. It's being recorded at the time, and then I post it to that page. So people are thinking, oh, I can just catch the replay. But I make it known that in order to be eligible for the giveaway, you have to be watching the live video. So, and then that's really enticing to people who don't know about doTERRA or haven't used essential oils before, because they're accepting the invitation to learn, but then there also is a possibility of getting products. So depending on, my personal inventory and how many people are watching, I'll raffle off more than 1 item. So I'll have a free bottle of lemon for anybody who is watching. I'll have a hand sanitizer for anybody who makes a purchase over $50, or an intro kit for anybody who does a purchase over $100. So just a few incentives to really get people to watch, and then follow up. So I don't want to be pushy. I'm not a salesperson, but I also want to remind people, because you can accept something and then forget about it a couple days later. So I'll always send at least 1, if not 2 messages to everybody who said that they were going to be watching beforehand, just as a reminder, and to just kind of get to know them a little bit better, so that they know who I am, and ask them what they would want to learn about. Do you want to learn about ways to keep your home clean? Do you want to learn ways to keep your immune system and other systems of the body healthy? Do you want to learn about personal care? So just something that they want to learn about, something that they need help in, allergies, sleep, breathing, so anything like that. So I have a starting point for that group of people, and I make sure to touch on anything that anyone told me to talk about.
So you have your host advertise the class, and then advertise that there will be giveaways at the class?
I do all the advertising. Okay. So on the class, on that class event page, I'm the one that does all of the posts, all of the, if I'm doing any kind of graphic or picture, or hey, this is what we're going to be talking about, I do all of that. So the host doesn't have any obligation, any pressure to do any extra work other than inviting the people to the class, because I want people to be like, yeah, I'll do it. If I don't have to do anything, of course I'll do it. So I do all of the work for them.
That's awesome. So have you had good luck with people purchasing at your classes that you don't know through these events?
Yes, because, well, I guess I don't have a reason why. I think it does have a lot to do with like, oh, if I make a purchase, then I might get this prize or whatever have you. But then, like I said, with following up before the class, I'm trying to follow up after the class, and I write down everyone who's watching, and I say, hey, like I'll shoot them a personal message. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope that you learned something. Is there anything that I can make a recommendation for? Because some people might not want to type that out during the class, and they'll be like, yeah, I was watching and I was learning a lot, and oh, I'm really interested in Serenity. Can you tell me a little bit more about it? So I do have more success when I follow up afterwards as well, just to like thank them for coming, ask them if they need recommendations with anything. And I always post, my site again, like, okay, if you want to make a purchase, here's my link, just click it, and then you can purchase from there. And then I always offer to do it for them. If it's somebody who might not be as technology savvy or doesn't have the time, I always say, I'm happy to place the order for you. I can, give you a call and we can go through your information. And I have actually had a few people do that where I just do it for them and get it shipped right to them. So
perfect. So that's awesome. I mean, I'm watching your numbers and I'm watching with awe. I'm like, this is amazing. So what questions, we have about 20 people on, and I'd love to open it up for questions. What questions do you guys have? You're welcome to ask Grace your questions.
I have a question.
Hi, Christy.
Yeah. Hey, how you doing, Jen? Hey, I'm wondering, are you signing people up for memberships then during these classes, or are you selling retail?
Both. So some people, I don't push being a wholesale customer because it is a bit of an obligation, especially right now with the finances being tight, people out of their jobs. I don't want to push that on them. I have done incentives where if they do want to sign up as a wholesale customer, I will pay their $35 fee for them, and then they're just responsible after that. So I have done that before. But the majority of the time from like an individual class, it's more retail. The time that I do have purchases from wholesale customers are just throughout the month when they're doing their reorders or their LRPs and things like that. And then I always mention in the class, if you want to become a wholesale customer, here are the benefits, why, here's how you do it. So when I'm doing my follow-up after the class, I'll mention it again. Hey, if you want to become a wholesale customer, if you have any more questions about it. So I have gotten people to sign up their classes as well. But the majority of the time it is retail, but I always follow up with my retail customers throughout the month to see how they're liking their products, if they have any questions, if they want further recommendations, and if they want to become a wholesale customer. And even just explaining the difference in price. Like if you wanted to buy a kit and the kit was, $160 retail and then $110 or whatever, I'm making up numbers.
Right.
But I tell them like, hey, that $35 pays for itself so fast. And then you get, so I really emphasize the money that you're saving. And I tell them you don't have to buy a kit. You do get more bang for your buck. You do get to experience more oils, but you can buy individual items. So I hope that answered your question. If I didn't, please let me know because I tend to ramble.
Yeah. Okay, I have one more and then I'll let you go. So when they're buying retail, are they ordering through your website? I heard you say that you help some of them like order, but then are you like sending them a direct link so that they can order?
Yeah, so on my Facebook page, on my Absolutely Essentials page, I created what's called an announcement at the top, and it's my URL. It's my link to my Wellness Advocate site. So people have very easy access to it. They can just click that link. It goes right to my page, and it's already linked to me, so you don't have to worry about people accidentally not ordering through you. And then I post it to the event class for whoever was just hosting for me. So they have a few ways to access my link. I had a follow-up point to that and now I've lost it. But yeah. So yeah, they're going through me. Did that answer your question? I know that I feel like I had a point to that and then I lost it.
No, you answered the question. That's great.
Okay.
I was just wondering if you were sending them a link and how you did. How do you feel?
Yes, if I was doing it for them.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So if I was doing it for them, I've really only done that. I mean, I guess I haven't done that with retail, but I have done it with signing people up as a wholesale customer. So I will just go to doTERRA's main page and I'll go to create account, and then I'm just on the phone with that person because you put
Okay.
in all of your contact information. I explain like, okay, do you want to buy a kit or do you want to buy singular items or whatever have you, and I just do it for them while on the phone with them. Because if it's somebody like, I've done it with my husband's grandma, I've done it with people who are a little bit older who might not want to work
Right.
the website like that, and that way I know that it's being done correctly and that it's going through me. So, and then
Right.
they just wanted to be on the phone because you do have to take payment information and things like that. So I'll just call them and we'll do it that way. And I've had people really appreciate that because they might not have the time, or they don't know how, or they're overwhelmed with the options. So it's easy and it's nice to have somebody on the phone walking you through that.
Right. Yeah, I've done that a lot too with customers that, especially that I was signing up as wholesale members
Yes.
or advocates, either one. So
Right.
I was just curious how you were handling it. Yeah,
Yes.
it sounds like you've got that mastered. Okay, thanks.
Trying.
All right. I
Thank you.
have a few questions on here. How far ahead do you book your class or event?
So I try to do it for at least a week in advance. If I scheduled one the other day with the person who's hosting for me, and then the next day I completely forgot to create the Facebook event. And I did it today, so that's putting me like 5 days out. But I try to do at least a week. That way, that gives them time to invite people. It gives the people who they're inviting time to respond. It gives me time to follow up with those people beforehand, reminding them of the class and things like that. You don't want to make it too soon where there's not enough time for people to get involved, and then you don't want to make it 2+ weeks out where people are going to forget or kind of lose steam about it.
Right. Perfect. Okay, next question. When you're teaching your class, do you use any kind of brochure or screen sharing, or do you just explain things?
I would love to do screen sharing, but I don't know how to do it. So Jen, that's something you're going to have to show me. I would love to. But no, I don't use any brochures or literature. I use whatever I personally have. So I'll have my products that I'm talking about. If I don't have that product personally, I'll just make a little note to make sure to talk about it. And I hold the item up and I show them. I'm in my room all the time, and I just go off of what I personally have. So I don't use anything like that. But I would love to screen share once I learn how to.
Yes, I can show you how.
Awesome.
Okay. So I'm just reading these. So if I understand, 1, pick a card promo, and if I'm looking for 4 people to host a virtual class. 2, the person invites friends, and I would create the event for them. 3, the contact invites and lets them know that the class attendance gets entry into the drawing. 4, the host class engages and then writes down names, posts your website link, and then talks about a topic, and while sell or retail business, follow up after with each person. So
so is that just kind of recapping what I do?
I was just reading the comment. Yes, I think so. And if you use the doTERRA link generator.
No, I don't. I just started today using doTERRA Social because I saw that they had come out with that, because I was using Amplify, and then Amplify sent an email saying that doTERRA Social is now available. So I just started experimenting with that today, and I actually did it to remind my friends about this class. And you can create your own graphic. You can create your own anything. It's really cool, especially for people who aren't tech savvy like me. It's really easy. And then you schedule when that one you want it to be posted. So I can schedule a week out of what I want to post, and it automatically sends it out for me. So I don't have to be on my phone or doing it all the time, which is awesome. So I'm really excited to do that more.
Perfect. So there's 2 more questions that I'll take, and then we'll wrap up. Teresa wants to know if you have a class recorded or watched to get an idea of how you do it.
Yeah, so I don't have them like saved on my computer, but you are welcome to find me on Facebook. My name is Grace Bates. I live in Illinois. My profile picture is me and my family. And then in like when you send somebody a friend request, you can put a little message. So you just reference that you met me from this Zoom, and I'll add you. Otherwise, I might not know who you are. And then I will add you to my Absolutely Essentials page because I post all of my lives to my page. So you can go through and watch all the ones that are on there.
Perfect. And then the last question is, if you're teaching a hosted class and you have people who want to order wholesale, does the order go under you or the person hosting?
If they're ordering wholesale, like if they're already a customer?
Yeah, so like let's say you're doing it, like let's say I wasn't a member and you hosted a class for me and my mom wanted to sign up. Do I sign them up or do you sign them up? Or do you just
sign them up?
Okay. And then I'm assuming you had your friend Jess, who is a wellness advocate. You had her sign her people up.
I had her, yeah. So it was her mom and her stepmom. They signed up under her because Jess is under me. So anybody like right now, Jess is my only wellness advocate under me. So anybody that she knows personally, she just signs up. But if I'm doing a class for somebody and I have people who want to sign up, then everyone just goes under me.
Perfect. So yeah, that's a perfect question. All right. Hopefully this was helpful for everybody, and it was helpful for me. And I'm telling you, whatever she is doing is working. Because
one quick question.
Oh, sure, go ahead.
Okay, my question is, I know she mentioned the helping the people that she signs up. Sorry, Grace, you.
No, you're fine.
Getting set up with the LRP, like how that's pretty crucial. It seems like that we want to, after we sign people up, get them on LRP. And is that just to ensure then
and that's something that
them ordering? That's the whole principle behind that.
Yeah. So LRP, the way that I describe it to people is that it's a loyalty program that you earn points with every purchase of 50 PV or more. And I tell them, like, if you want the product of the month, it has to be 125, but at least 50. And I always emphasize that they can go in and customize it to their budget and what their needs are. Because when you hear monthly reorder, you think that it's just going to be the same items over and over again. So I tell them just if you want to do an LRP, throw in the items that you know that you're always going to use. So for me, it's On Guard, Breathe, Serenity. Those are ones that I go through all the time. So those are always in my LRP. So I tell them the ones that you use all the time, throw those in, and then you can go back throughout the month and customize to what your needs are. So if one month you need lavender, but the next month you don't need it, you're still stocked, then you can delete it out. So I just walk them through that, let them know what the benefits are. I tell them, like, the points add up so fast. I cashed in my points a few weeks ago and I got over $200 worth of oils, which is true. And that really gets people like, oh yeah, I want to do that.
So they have to have an LRP to be able to redeem points.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So, and I tell them too, like if it's a wholesale customer who's not on an LRP, I don't want to push it right now, especially with how things are financially for people. But right now I'm doing an incentive where if you sign up for an LRP, I send you, actually I just got them in today. I send them the doTERRA keychains with 8 samples of my favorite oils, which is just a fun little thing to get. And then just another incentive for them to sign up. But I do always tell them that you can customize it. So whatever, if one month you can only afford $50 and the next month you can afford a little bit more. And that really kind of, I guess, intrigues people a little bit more, that they don't have to always commit to $125 a month.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you.
Perfect. Well, you guys, thank you so much for being on this evening.
Thank you so much.
And that was extremely helpful. I think, my recommendation, you guys, is and Grace doesn't mind, is if you pop into her group and see how she does it. I mean, that's what I'm planning on doing, because I want to see exactly how she does it. So thank you, everybody, for being on.
Thank you so much.
And if anybody wants, my husband is going to hop on to this Zoom and do a little overview of the comp plan. So if anybody wants that, I'm going to have him come in here and I'm going to go work out, but he's going to be doing something. So I'm going to go get him. I'm going to stop the recording.